this video, we are going to show you what we did during our 2 trips to Puerto Vallarta, Mexico.
My sister and I traveled to Puerto Vallarta in February. We wanted to relax, have a spa day, spend time at the pool, the beach, and do some sightseeing.
The weather in February was similar to our San Diego weather, and we had such a great time at the resort where we stayed, so we decided to come back and bring our sons and book another trip in July.
Our flight was a little over 2 hours. When we arrived, there were workers there to greet you. They offered to find you a taxi, and they even offered you tequila shots.
Yep, so we had the tequila shots, but little did we know they were trying to offer us a timeshare promotion. So to those of you who are going to that airport for the first time, keep on walking, don't stop to talk to them. We remembered not to do this when we came back with our sons the second time.
In February, we stayed at the Via del Palmar Flamingos in Nuevo Vallarta. It's about 30 minutes north of the airport, and it's furthest away from the row of tourist hotels, so it's definitely less crowded.
Yeah, the resort overlooks the Banderas Bay, and it's situated right on the Flamingos beach, and our accommodations were really nice. We had a great view of the pool and the beach, and every night during turn down service they would put out chocolate strawberries,
Chocolate truffles,
and micheladas, so it was kind of a nice surprise to see what they were leaving us when we came back in for the day.
The resort had really good restaurants. We ate at places like the taco bar, the pizza bar,
The creperie,
the deli and marketplace. They had a really good breakfast buffet.
and a sushi restaurant.
So you really didn't have to leave the resort to have a great meal. They had good drinks, but they were a little watered down. So if you want your strong, I would ask for an extra shot.
Yeah.
Spent 4 days and 3 nights on both trips. Since our sons were joining us this time, we decided to plan a different itinerary for them.
We experienced both highs and lows on this trip, but in the end, we made great memories, and our sons are going to have some fun stories to tell. When we arrived at the Flamingos Resort, we were told that we were upgraded to a larger room at the resort next door, which was Via La Estancia. That wasn't what we had reserved, so we were a little reluctant about what our room was going to look like. But we went up and we saw that it definitely was a larger master suite and living area, and the boys had a separate room. Each room had sliding doors that opened up to a joining balcony that overlooked the pool and the beach. On this trip, we decided to book the all-inclusive amenities. That meant we could enjoy the food and drinks at any of the restaurants at Flamingos and La Estancia. We also had access to both pools. It was so hot and humid outside, the boys couldn't wait to get into the pool, so that was the first thing we did. After the pool, we had dinner and walked along the beach to watch the sunset for our first night in Puerto Vallarta with the boys. The next day, we had breakfast and headed out to Edenva. This is an ecotourism park located in Mismaloya in the center of Puerto Vallarta, Jalisco. There are waterfalls, natural pools, zip lines, right in the middle of the jungle and mountains. The drive to get there was not comfortable. We took a taxi, and it probably wasn't the best idea to be driving in a sedan because we had to drive over a few miles of rough terrain on an unpaved road with large rocks everywhere. When we finally arrived, we could not wait to get into the water. It was probably about 98 degrees with 92% humidity, so we were eager to get started with the activities. We arrived at the park at 9:45 a.m., and the boys were scheduled to begin their ziplining at 10 a.m. However, they did not start their ziplining until about 11 a.m., and it looked like the workers were waiting for more people to arrive, which we were a little unhappy about because we had made reservations for 10 a.m., but they didn't start until after 11. The good thing was we could walk around and check out the different areas of the park while we waited. The boys finally got called to go ziplining at 11:15, and so while they did that, we enjoyed drinks and laid on the hammocks to look for the boys on the zip lines. We felt really lucky because it was almost as if we had the pools to ourselves. It was nice to be able to experience this park without a huge crowd. When it was time to leave, we had to wait a long time for our taxi, and the ride back was unfortunately even more uncomfortable. So if you book this trip, make sure you plan for the appropriate transportation. Overall, we had a great time at this beautiful ecotourism park. Later that evening, we walked down the Malecon boardwalk to watch the sunset and do some shopping. Along the boardwalk, you can see colorful paintings on the walls, artistic bronze sculptures, and sand sculptures. In front of the famous Puerto Vallarta arches, there is a stage with performances. Even though it was hot and humid, it was definitely cooler in the evening, and this was a popular place to catch the sunset. We did some shopping at the Isla Rio Quale flea market, then we crossed over the river bridge to get to the next town of Zona Romantica. We continued walking to get to the Los Muertos Pier, or Muelle de Playa Los Muertos. On the way back to our resort, we asked the taxi driver if there was a place where we could get churros. He took us to this lady who was making churros along the side of the street. These were the most amazing churros that we've ever had. They were so light, airy, and crispy They were so good. We really wanted to go back the next day to get more, but they don't start making them until the evening. The next day we went to the nearby fishing town of Bucerías. The last time we were here in February, we walked there from our resort and it only took us about 20 minutes. But this time, because it was so hot in July, we decided to take a taxi. We looked for souvenirs and the boys learned how to negotiate to try to get the best price for the item they wanted to buy. When we were here in February, my sister and I ate at this great beachside restaurant. We had fresh fish, shrimp, scallops, and lobster. We headed back to our resort to enjoy some pool time, and since one of our boys was 18, he could enjoy some poolside drinks at the swim-up bar. When we returned back to our hotel room, we noticed there was water leaking from the ceiling in every room. Luckily, none of our things got damaged, but we had to talk to the hotel manager and we had to switch rooms quickly. After the inconvenient and last-minute switch of our hotel rooms, we were ready for drinks and a great steak dinner. We started with grilled shrimp with Thai coconut sauce, calamari, and lobster croquettes. I chose a béarnaise sauce for my steak. The boys chose a 3-pepper sauce for their ribeyes. The steaks were cooked perfectly. We could see lightning and hear thunder outside, and this was the only night that it rained. But this was the best dinner during our trip. On our last morning, we walked back to the Flamingos to have breakfast at El Patron. The boys were really tired, but since our flight didn't leave until the afternoon, my sister and I decided to enjoy the pool one last time. As we said at the beginning of our video, there were some highs and lows to our Puerto Vallarta vacation. We loved the resort pools, the restaurants at the resorts, the location on the beach, ziplining at Edenva, relaxing on the hammocks, the street-side churros, the warm ocean water of the beach, the cool, refreshing pools at Edenva, the beautiful sunsets and walking on the Malecon. The lows were the hot, humid weather, getting mosquito bites, the rough, sweaty, and bumpy drive to Edenva, the watered-down poolside drinks, and having to switch hotel rooms because of the ceiling leak. All 4 of us enjoyed our vacation. We look forward to using our passports again and planning our next adventure.